Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Scuff 50K. I'm Brycey, and the man joining me here, the maestro himself, it's Clayster. How are you, my friend?
Not so good, but you know, good enough to come up here and commentate a match.
I had to ask, but you know, props to you for coming up here, and you're going to be entertaining the fans at home. You know, you're already going to take over my job. You're going to do the play-by-play analysis. My job basically to drive the camera and make a funny pun if I can figure one out. Quick shout out to the sponsors, BenQ. Fantastic monitors, like so many of the pros use them. I think Clay, you use one as well, don't you?
Oh yeah, I definitely use them. I actually have 3 BenQs in my house right now. 1 millisecond response time, best in the business right there, BenQ.
So there you go. You heard it from Clay himself. Make sure you get hold of one. There are Twitter giveaways and there are codes, UMG $20 and UMG $50 codes, and that gets you money off. So let's get and talk about this game, Clayster. First of all, you've had quite a few dealings with ISO, kind of a big thing going on here at UMG. And I want to ask, but I feel like it's rubbing salt in the wound, but you know, I've got to, this could have been you here. What happened?
Small mistakes cost us, I think. A lot of the reasons that we lost, we could have had a 3-0 if we would have beat them on the second map. Just some minor mistakes that we had, some minor communication mistakes that we had. They beat us on the Solar Hardpoint by about 40 points, but we ended up getting a bunch of scrap time at the end that didn't really matter. And then we went to Biolab Search and Destroy, which is by far our worst map. Like, it's down here, and then our next worst map is way up here. So we need to figure out our Biolab Search and Destroy. We tried some things out that we had been going over, watching a lot of VODs of Biolab Search, but it just ended up not working out. And, you know, props to ISO for knocking us out of the tournament.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's kind of just a modesty, you know, saying it how it is there. Biolab Search and Destroy, and the other Search and Destroy you could have had from my side was quite close, but unfortunate. So let's talk about the squads then. I mean, obviously you're probably more kind of in depth with ISO than anybody else in the venue right now, having them just beating you. Talk to me about, you know, their strengths and their weaknesses that you saw.
Well, you know, you got two really good AR players in Silly and Dito. You know, I actually teamed with Silly in Modern Warfare 3 for quite a while on Team Valiant Apprehension, and I know how good of a player he is. And then you have Dito, who's been around for a while. He took a chance on these guys. You know, Silly's not really not known, but you sit there and you look at the squad, and you have Havoc first right there up, and that kid is so good at Search and Destroy. I've been saying it ever since I first saw him. He had that sick 1v4 against Optic, I think, at UMG Dallas. To win the map, he's just so good at Search and Destroy. And then you have Dito, who's won a couple tournaments himself. He's a well-seasoned player, you know.
Okay, so predictions for this Solar Hardpoint. How do you think this is going to go between these two?
We played ISO on Solar Hardpoint 4th
which
map.
I actually tipped you guys to win, but never mind.
You know, something happened to our Solar after Dallas, but regardless, ISO played the map very well. They pull out different guns depending on the different hills. You know, sometimes they'll be using 3 assault rifles, sometimes 3 SMGs, and that's what you need to do on Solar Hardpoint. And the way they hold the second hill was really nice. We actually ended up, they got the full 60 versus us, and so it was a bit unfortunate, but I expect ISO to come out here on top on Solar Hardpoint.
All right, well, let's jump on board. And it looks like we're having a little disagreement over which team should go on which side, but we will get on board with them first of all. And we're going to jump on board with ISO. Let's go on board with Dito then and see how he's going to go down. Right.
And you see Dito right here. He's going to go ahead and push into the steam, getting a little extra time off, and he's looking into the bottom Solar. He knows people are glass to his right, and he unfortunately gets taken out right away. 3 dead for ISO right off the bat.
I mean, glass control is so important on this middle hill, right? Let's be honest. Not only that, but once you have glass control, towards the end of the hill, you'll see that hook round to try and get top spawns for your squad as they go in. But this is one of the ones where you don't really expect to get an awful lot of time here, and it's kind of funny to say that about Hardpoint because we say it every single time, but on the middle Hardpoint, in your point of view, it's just so scrappy. What do you actually look forward to achieve at the very least?
You want to at least split the points. You want to end up after this hill, you know, 20-20, 30-30, something like that. And like you said, have that glass control, because when you have that glass control, it's the easiest rotation up to the top. You see Llama turning on someone right there. That was actually pretty nasty. And you see ISO coming out to a big lead right here versus EnVy. You know, 20 points already. That's exactly what they did to us, and they maintained that through the entire game.
Enough, Cap has actually rotated to the top spawn now, and it's going to be silly for this spawn battle, but instant JCap just had his number. And it looks like they might have the advantage into this hill.
Yeah, and if you take a look, 2 ISO players followed him up right now coming through Solar, and them just being alive right now is blocking the spawns, so any kills they get, they're spawning EnVy out. See, EnVy spawns Glass 3 right there, they end up pinching the hill, get 3 dead right there, and now they should know that EnVy's coming around. You see him turn around right there, Llama unfortunately gets taken out, and a nice 2-piece by Looney. So sick. Oh, we got the third too.
Wow.
Straight dirty by Looney. Looney's one of the best in the game.
Yeah, that was unreal from Looney, being able to pick up a 3-piece straight back off the spawn, but down he goes here as both teams will now try and force the other team out of the hill by flooding bodies in. You can see Looney picking up another kill. He's now 9 and 5, pushing into Fan, knowing that realistically this is the opportunity where you've got to start thinking about flipping the spawns.
Exactly, and that's just heads up play by Looney. He knows that he's spawning them back there. You see him look yellow cow, gets a kill, and then he just runs to the next hill, which is the smartest thing that he could have done in that situation. He ended up helping his teammate in the back, rotating early to the next hill, and look where his teammate just spawned, right next to him. Both of them did in the next hill.
Okay, let's talk about pinching this hill and breaking it here, because it's something that a lot of teams maybe struggle with, and do they approach it the right way? So for you, what do ISO need to do to break this?
You just have to identify how they're holding the hill. If they're holding 2 in the hill and 2 outside the hill, or 3 in the hill and 1 outside the hill, and you see them just flooding from parking lot, which is the favored way to go because you have that little hut room you can go in, and you have the big door to shoot, and he kills his teammate right there trying to fire out. But see, then they trap him with Semtex and stuns out Fan, and they're just not getting the kills they need to push it out. And you see it's really scrappy right here, and this hill is usually not. Right there, EnVy just blocked the spawn and spawned ISO way out, so this is their time to set up on this hill.
We see the EnVy will not be able to get it until they should be able to take the lead off this break, but here comes Isolation. They are moving in fast and furious. It's going to be Aqua trying to shut them down with the 2, but gets the 3rd as well. Shuts them completely out, looking for that next pre-fire, not able to slap a new clip in time, but they have managed to take the lead. But here comes the rotation to top hill. And
this is the hill that ISO really took away from us. They rotated early to it, and they ended up holding the entire time. The way that, see how far out that they're pushed on the minimap? Dino unfortunately getting taken out in the back. Oh, he actually gets away, and that's so big because he knows his opponent should be coming in front of him. JCap with a nice kill there. And you see just the way ISO holds this hill, they end up slowing down the other team so much that it's so difficult to push them out.
Well, you see they try to pinch it, but JCap will go down. Looney now rushing into the hill, desperate to get the sun, hits him in the face. He can do nothing but hip fire. Takes him so long, and it's actually going to be silly. He takes down Havoc. Looney did nothing in that entire time. He's still alive, though, somehow.
That's just one of those plays where you being alive is the world. And he could have had 2 kills right there, misses, and Octane unfortunately stops shooting right there, kills his teammate JCap with the car explosion. And that, see, this is what I like about Aqua. He slows down in every aspect. Even though he's right next to the hill, he's still playing really methodically slow. And he almost picks up the 2-piece right there, but unfortunately does not. Silly on your screen right now. He's going to just be holding this last remaining 10 seconds, and we'll look for the rotation of the next hill.
Well, you are right. They did get an awful amount of time there, Clay. And now we can see Looney here just trying to get anybody actually cutting through. And I imagine he's going to be looking for people coming through this cross now. Through mid in the ears, he's going to pick up 1. Goes back, going to be able to pick up the 2-piece as well. Looney with a 2. He's going to look for the 3rd, not able to get it as he does get shut down. But here comes the push into the hill. Enough bodies for ISO, about to flood through. Silly desperately trying to wrest control away from JCap.
And this is something I've seen teams do a lot. I'm talking about EnVy right here. They're flooding from the unfavored spawns. You know, when you're coming from the way ISO is, you have this ring Heglitz right here. And you see them flood Purple Cat right there with 2 people. And them just being alive means so much. As you can see, ISO spawning across the map. They end up losing hill control right there. And EnVy is just flooding the hill straight up. And they're just pinching 2 at a time through Purple Catwalk.
JCap trying to hold off the pressure here. It does manage to stay alive, and that's going to mean an awful lot because it means his teammate can still come in. How on earth have they not managed to pick him up? But here they come. The flood comes in once more. Octane picks up 2. Looney jumps in. He will go down, and Silly will now shut them, and that is now advantage to the team of Isolation, who finally stopped the flood of envious players coming in.
And it's really crazy how in Advanced Warfare you can flood the hill like that and end up getting some major time off it. In Black Ops 2, if you try to flood a hill, you're basically going 4 down and just feeding them kill streaks. You see Dito on your screen almost had a 2-piece lined up right there for him. Llama got going up top, trying to get any pressure he can on the hill. And that's the thing about this middle hill. It's about who has more pressure on the hill. It's not even about being in the hill or being in power positions. It's about having number advantage and just pressuring every spawn off this hill.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing about this middle hill, right? Is if you go into the hill, you're likely to die very quickly. But at the same time, you have to go into that hill because you can't allow the other team to just sit in there or maybe hide by pipe for any length of time. So you're right, it's continuous pressure here. Right now, both teams obviously just trading all the way as the kill field. I'm gonna just keep going. It actually fills up with the Isolation players. Aqua looking for glass control now. Does manage to get a kill, not able to complete it. And look at the spawn out back Fan here for EnVy.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like ISO realizes that they spawned Fan. There's 2 players of ISO just went up to look at the rotation. They thought they were spawning glass. You see Octane getting the power position of maps right now. This gunfight, they actually do win it. They get 4 dead right there and spawn ISO out. That was a bit of a mistake on ISO's part, not realizing where the enemy were spawning and thinking they were going to be coming up top.
Aqua goes all the way around. Imagine they were going to spawn back and come straight for him. Not able to do it, and they flood through mid-cut, manage to get him, but Pinch is going to come in as well. Octane needs to stay alive because he's going to have to help his team out in a minute. He goes down, and that player who was in the hill, I think it was Havoc who managed to do it, did so much work while just distracting the team of EnVy.
And it's crazy. Like I told you, ISO just gets that lead, and they maintain it throughout the entire game. And you see him here on this second hill getting a good chunk of time after EnVy had them spawning all the way out. Octane with a really nice pickup at maps. That kill right there allows his teammates to spawn behind him, and they should be realizing that the enemy is going to be coming from glass or coming from fan side.
Octane with a laser-like snapshot, trying to pick it up. Has now had on a 4th streak, trying to stay alive himself, but is going to go down here. 16 seconds left, and it will be EnVyUs once more that have control of the spawns, but it's not helping him out as much as it could be in this game.
Yeah, and we ran into the same problem playing ISO. We'd be perfectly set up, rotated to the next hill, and they end up breaking it with their stuns. We were actually making jokes about how many stuns this team does throw, and you see right there, EnVy just went 2 down right there after they held the rotation. They gave up the scrap time, rotated, and then ended up getting broken before the hill even switched.
Well, this is a big pinch though. 4 players of EnVyUs coming in, and there we go. Perfect and textbook from them. 3 entrances they actually came through, but can they hold against isolation now? And this is the point of the map for me, Clay, where you have to really start narrowing it down, because you don't want to go into the last 2 hills with a deficit, because it means you have to play a little bit more reckless. You can't afford to really waste that much time, and you have to play for scrap time.
Yeah, me and my team have talked about this hill rotating to the next one, whether or not it's more beneficial to get 15 seconds off this hill or rotate earlier to the next one. And I honestly think it's how you play the game is what is the right decision, because either way works if you can manage to break it. And you see Silly right there ended up picking up 2 kills, or got an assist and the kill on the end guy, and they're going to hold this last 14 seconds. And you see EnVy's just opting for the rotate option. But see, this is where we went wrong as well versus ISO. You saw us rotate 4 early to this hill, and look, they're not even the first ones there.
They outran them. Act was going to go down at the same time, and I mean, ISO held this so much as we saw in the first rotation, but can they do this? I mean, they're going to need pretty much all of this time to bring it back as close as possible going into that last hill, which, let's be honest, Clay, can be a floodfest.
Oh yeah, that last hill, you're not guaranteed any time on that hill, basically. It's like a middle hill, and you see them just trading, and they're spawning closer to glass. ISO actually has the hill here. They should be looking top square. Looney just trades 1 right there, and that's about it right there, because they're just going to keep trading. ISO, they should just keep trading one after another, and they should be able to lock this game up.
Octane trying to get the 2-piece here. I mean, it's still theoretically possible, but only just. And I mean, even if they get the last 25 seconds on this hill, can they get a huge hold on the last one? No, more bodies coming in, and they have to commit as well. The issue is that realistically, EnVy cannot afford to rotate. They have to keep flooding back, because that scrap time goes against them, and they've just lost the game.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just one of those things where right there, that extra 10 seconds, the 15 you gave up on the down low hill, like I was saying, it's one of those just decisions you have to make, and you saw ISO just beat him to the top hill. Some great performances out of everyone on either side. You don't see really anybody doing too bad, anybody doing too hot, but it was just a really good teamwork effort by ISO. They maintained that lead throughout the entire game, and it's coming down the last hill here.
Okay, so this is a kind of an interesting point. We don't usually get to do this. So you've played ISO on this map, and you've just watched them play again against EnVyUs. If you had to change something up, how would you beat isolation?
You know, you just got to be either A, quicker than them, or B, more consolidated than them. It seems they spread the map a lot. They try and hit every lane possible. They try and go 3 ways at once, 4 ways at once, all over the map. And I think you either need to be running as a squad with your unit 4 at a time, or you need to be able to run quicker than them and get to the next hill. Because you saw EnVy rotate early to the top hill, and they still got beaten by 3 ISO members. And that's just the game right there. You can't let that happen. You can't give up scrap time and lose the rotation.
Well, EnVyUs have really been put down hard here in this first 2-2-9 to 1-3-4 isolation, making a bold statement. And another thing I've got to ask, is it frustrating now to see this and see exactly what they were doing? Because obviously in game you don't get this much information. You're kind of guessing exactly how they're playing it. Is it kind of like that's what they were doing?
Yeah, you know, we always go back and watch all the VODs on, you know, whatever the YouTube channel is. But we sit there and we watch every loss, every win, blah, blah. And I was going to have to wait, you know, a week or 2 to see that. But now being able to see ISO right here, being able to cast it and see exactly what they were doing, you know, I'm going to go back and tell my team, and we'll beat them on Solar next time.
All right, well, promises there, Clay. Join us after the break where we go into map number 2.